morning, my name is Josh from CyclonesOZ, and here is your detailed forecast update for March 24th, 2025. A lot to get through today. We're going to start things off over in central interior parts of Queensland, where torrential rainfall has been problematic over the last couple of days and is expected to continue to be problematic over the next week, with totals up to 400 millimetres expected in the next 7 days. We've also had some pretty significant rainfall over in the Townsville area overnight, and records have fallen. I'll explain what rainfall has fallen and what records have been broken in just a few moments, but again, starting off with the rainfall over in the interior parts of Queensland, we have that low pressure system that we've been talking about driving this rainfall just sitting over the Queensland Northern Territory border at this time, and a severe thunderstorm warning is currently active for heavy to locally intense rainfall along the Queensland Northern Territory border, extending into Mount Isa. However, the rainfall there is beginning to ease off, but you can see on the radar and satellite imagery just heaps of thunderstorms and heavy showers being slow moving and moving around in the interior parts of Queensland through the Leichhardt River catchment and then down into the Eyre River catchments as well. These rivers are really starting to fill with some pretty significant volumes of water, and we're already starting to see some of these river levels rise up towards minor flooding alerts, with 7 days worth of rainfall still to come. Let's talk about those rainfall numbers right now. They are very heavy indeed. So you can see, looking at the forecast models, there's showers and thunderstorms expected to be widespread throughout the remainder of today. They will be at their heaviest along the Queensland Northern Territory border. We're also expecting showers to be relatively heavy down around the Windora and down towards the Eromanga area as well, just in this little vicinity here. They're really going to be developing quite a bit later on this afternoon and into this evening. Heavier showers and storms expected down there, and then really heavy showers expected to be associated with the slow pressure system moving south of Mount Isa and then through Billawheeler, north of Bedory and up towards Billawheeler, I apologise, not Billawheeler, over in central Queensland, then south of McKinley, Winton and Longreach. Expecting this low pressure system to be slow moving, but it is going to be getting along, and we're going to be seeing plenty of showers and thunderstorms, especially on the eastern side and then down to the southeastern side of it. Now, the low pressure system itself, the centre of the stuff, as you can see on the forecast models, is located just about 150 kilometres to the west-southwest of Mount Isa, and it's going to be heading in more or less a southeasterly trajectory, pretty much from the northwest down towards the southeast. So if you follow this line here, it is going to head south of Mount Isa down towards Windora and Addervale throughout the next 48 hours, and you can see it is actually approaching Windora in around the 48-hour time period. By Wednesday morning, we're expecting these showers and thunderstorms to be weakening off as this low pressure system loses a bit of moisture and runs out of a bit of steam, and as such, the rainfall is expected to ease off through Tuesday night and into Wednesday morning. We're still seeing very, very heavy showers through Tuesday night into Wednesday morning around the Windora area and just in this general vicinity of south central Queensland, but through Wednesday the showers will actually ease off temporarily in the morning. We're still expecting heavy rain to be embedded in some of these thunderstorms around the low pressure system here and there, but the showers will be lighter compared to what they've been over the last couple of days and what they will be for the next 2 days. However, showers and thunderstorms will return in fashion through Thursday and into Friday, especially through Thursday night into Friday night. We're expecting plenty of showers and thunderstorms into the more central parts of Queensland, where we're a bit more familiar with the geography over there. Tambo, Augathella, Charleville, Wyandra, Emerald, Rolleston, Injune and Roma could all be seeing heavy periods of showers and tending to moderate rainfall at times. We're also expecting plenty of showers and storms to be extending in from the Sunshine Coast and into the south central parts of Queensland through Bundaberg, Agnes Water, Gladstone and Rockhampton, and we could be seeing some respectable rainfall accumulations between 20 and 80 millimetres through Thursday and Friday in some of these locations as well. But again, like I've said, the heaviest rainfall associated around this low pressure system here immediately towards the east and the southeast, which through Thursday and Friday is expected to be located around Cunnamulla, around the Wyandra sort of area, and then extending across the border into New South Wales through Friday night and into Saturday morning, and then that heavy rainfall and showers being dragged into the southeast corner of Queensland, where we could be seeing a bit of a rainfall event unfold there through Friday night and into Saturday, especially easing off by Sunday morning. Some very heavy rainfall could be associated with that. Now that's the kind of the gist of the forecast right now. Just to recap on that, low pressure system located over the Northern Territory Queensland border right now, just towards the west-southwest of Mount Isa, and is expected to be heading towards the southeast over the next couple of days. We're expecting just this steady stream of moisture to be following in behind it, which means rainfall will be at its heaviest towards the east of the low pressure system, which also means for major population centre Mount Isa, the worst of the rainfall is probably starting to ease off at this point here. You can see rainfall accumulations over the next week or so are beginning to drop a little bit for Mount Isa. We were seeing some pretty big numbers yesterday, but considering we're not expecting resurgence in moisture from this low pressure system or series of low pressure systems, that is a really good thing on the forecast. It looks like the rainfall is now going to clear out of the Northern Territory Queensland border side of things. They've had their heavy falls there, and mark my words, of some of the rainfall accumulations, they've been heavy, with some places picking up 250 millimetres over the last 48 hours, their best rainfall accumulations in a couple of years for some of these locations, and for some places their best rainfall accumulations in the last decade. Already, like I said, rivers beginning to struggle with the amount of water that's going to flow through them, and I imagine the Leichhardt River and the Eyre or the rivers that drain into Lake Eyre and the Lake Eyre basement are expected to be extremely full in the next couple of weeks, just with the amount of rainfall that's going to flow in there. But the rainfall is just beginning now as we get over towards the eastern side of Mount Isa. You can see around Cloncurry expecting a further 150 to 250 millimetres over the next 7 days. We're expecting some pretty good rainfall accumulations to flow in on the Gulf of Carpentaria's southeastern coastline as well. We're just expecting a bit of a highway of rainfall to develop in this area here. So for Mornington Island, Burketown, Corumba, these sort of areas, we could be seeing rainfall accumulations anywhere between 150 out to about 400 or 500 millimetres here, which is not necessarily what the forecast models are suggesting, but if you cross-reference this with other forecast models, you can see some pretty extreme rainfall accumulations are expected, just because there is going to be a bit of a highway of rainfall flowing into the Norman River catchment area. So expecting some pretty significant water contributions to the Norman River as well, which could lead to some moderate or minor, even some major riverine flooding in those areas as well. Big time rainfall accumulations expected through Winton, Longreach, Jericho, and then out towards Emerald, with about 250 millimetres of rainfall apiece there. The bulk of that will be coming through on Tuesday and then again on Thursday and Friday as well. The rainfall beginning to ease off for areas further out inland through Winton and Longreach on Friday by the looks of things, or through Thursday and Friday. Not only another about 3 days of rainfall out there. Windora could see up to about 300 millimetres of rainfall. They're going to be on the bottom side of this rainfall here, which is where this low pressure system is going to begin to slow down. So expecting some stalling thunderstorms and showers around the Windora area, and that could lead to rainfall accumulations, especially through Wednesday or Tuesday and into Wednesday morning of up to around 400 millimetres through there. Some big time rainfall accumulations expected to develop tonight, persist through Tuesday, and it start to ease off through Wednesday morning in this general area here. So again, including Charleville, Augathella and Tambo, rainfall accumulations up around that 300 millimetre mark are possible over the next 3 days. Significant falls also expected around Rolleston and then south of Rolleston through Taroom, and in June rainfall accumulations anywhere between 250 out to a maximum of 500 millimetres here. We do have a few mountains through here. I'm not sure exactly what mountain range these make up, but just towards the southwest of Rollingston, the Carnarvon National Park, these mountains here, they do stick up quite significantly from the Queensland plain, or from the plain in this general area, and we will be seeing some pretty significant rainfall accumulations in there, which means some contributions to the rivers that flow into the Lake Eyre catchment can be expected. You can see rivers flowing down through Charleville and Wyandra, so significant falls which will happen through Thursday and Friday, and also Tuesday night into Wednesday night. We could be seeing some pretty significant rainfall in those areas, which could lead to some pretty sharp and significant rises in water levels through Thursday and into Friday for locations around Charleville down towards Wyandra and Cunnamulla as well, down on the New South Wales-Queensland border. Rainfall is expected to be a bit lighter down on the Queensland-New South Wales border as well. Anywhere between 50 out to about 150 millimetres is expected, with the heaviest falls being north of Wannaring and Burke. Lightning Ridge could pick up 100 millimetres of rainfall, but that's kind of the only major population centre that can put a name on getting more than 100 millimetres of rainfall over in New South Wales. I'll get to the rainfall forecast for North Queensland and even central North Queensland as well, north of Bundaberg and right up towards Cairns and Cardwell. I'll get to the rainfall forecast on that in just a few minutes, because that deserves its own airtime, especially with the records that have fallen overnight. But down in southeast Queensland, expecting some significant falls down there as well. There are going to be a few showers and thunderstorms in the vicinity of southeast Queensland over the next couple of days. You can see a few showers and thunderstorms are expected tonight, and especially through Tuesday and into Wednesday as well. But as this low pressure system begins to draw closer, the rainfall is going to pick up. You can see Wednesday some heavy showers possible, Thursday some heavy showers possible as well, tending to heavy rain at times, and then through Friday the rainfall really beginning to pick up, and showers and thunderstorms expected to be widespread across southeast Queensland through Friday night into early Saturday morning, and then that rainfall clearing out later on Saturday night into Sunday morning for southeast Queensland. And that's going to be the residual stuff of this low pressure system as it begins to die off and as energy gets dispersed across Queensland and New South Wales. So just the heads up there, some heavy rainfall is possible this coming weekend across this part of Queensland. We could be talking about rainfall accumulations over the next week anywhere up to around 300 millimetres on the Sunshine Coast, with about 200 millimetres of this stuff expected as a maximum around Brisbane, and about 150 millimetres expected around the Gold Coast, and falls between 50 out to about 150 millimetres expected into the northeastern corner of New South Wales there. Rainfall shouldn't be enough to cause flooding in the southeast of Queensland or the northeast of New South Wales. Minor flash flooding can be expected through next weekend, because the rainfall will actually be coming in the heavy bands of rainfall that we've come to know up in North Queensland, and as such some flash flooding can be expected, which could cause some problems here and there. But apart from some big puddles around southeast Queensland, I don't think this rainfall is going to be problematic. It's a different story though across central Queensland, and we have had that shift from the rainfall being up a little bit further north over the last couple of days to a little bit more of a further south in the south central region of Queensland as well. But they're just as flood prone down here, and considering average annual rainfall accumulations are anywhere between about 300 and 600 millimetres for these locations, with maximum rainfall accumulations now in the forecast, especially out towards Windora of up to around 300 millimetres, we could be seeing a year and a half worth of rainfall for some of these places places out here. Again, it's not going to be coming in steady, solid streams of rainfall, so there is still a little bit of uncertainty, and some locations will pick up more than others by a significant margin, but for the most part, some really heavy falls expected around Addervale, Windora, Yarraka, Tambo, Augathella, Charleville, Wyandra, Roma, Injune, Taroom, Rolleston, up towards Emerald, Claremont, Jericho, Longreach and Winton as well. So a very wide swathe of locations expecting some pretty significant rainfall accumulations as a result of this tropical moisture streaming in from the Northern Territory and the Gulf of Carpentaria. And whilst, like I said, it will be widespread, some locations will miss out, and a lot of locations are really going to pick up some big time rainfall accumulations. Stay safe, expect some flooding, prepare your property now, and make sure you do have a couple of days worth of supplies, especially if you live remote. Get your supplies ready today. The rainfall is likely to cause some pretty significant damages and some pretty significant impacts to the road network around this part of Queensland, and you're likely to be cut off if you live in a remote area, especially if you've got a major river flowing through your location. Being cut off is certainly a high likelihood right now. Anyways, let's shift focus now and talk about Townsville, especially up in far north Queensland. The rainfall there has been intense overnight. We've had another band of rainfall just materialise and sit on the top of Townsville, delivering anywhere between 120 to 180 millimetres of rainfall. Now, whilst this necessarily wasn't on the forecast, I do need to make it pretty clear that we are expecting unpredictable rainfall anywhere between Cairns down to Mackay over the next couple of days from just rainfall streams and convergence zones that are going to sit themselves up along the coastline, and anywhere could cop 6-hourly rainfall accumulations up around that 150 millimetre mark. Now for Townsville, this rainfall is, I guess, special. It's because this rainfall has now led to Townsville having its wettest calendar year on record. 2025 is now officially Townsville's wettest year on record, and we are less than 100 days into the year as well. So that just gives you the idea of how much rainfall that we've seen so far this year. In the tropics, it's not uncommon for annual records to be broken sometime in April or May, but this annual record has been broken in March, and mid-March at that. So this rainfall here around Townsville has been extreme, that's for sure, and it's just because of that 180 millimetres that sat on them last night. So they've had their wettest month on record, they've had their wettest year on record. Townsville's also had their wettest February on record as well, so it has all round just been incredibly wet up into the Townsville area, and it is, again, thanks to all of these rain bands that are streaming through, including the one last night, that tipped the scales in the favour of Townsville having its wettest year on record. Again, more showers and thunderstorms expected across central Queensland and north Queensland throughout the next couple of days. Rainfall is expected to be pretty persistent through today around the Townsville area, so expect some more showers and storms to be streaming in through there. Tomorrow we're going to see an increase of rainfall somewhere between Cardwell down to about Mackay, and the heaviest falls look to be somewhere between Townsville down towards Mackay as well. Heavy showers will be streaming through the Proserpine area and into the Whitsundays pretty consistently. And then as this low pressure system in central Queensland heads further south through Wednesday, the showers and thunderstorms and the concentrate of those showers and thunderstorms will also begin to head further south, and some pretty significant falls can be expected between Mackay down to Ogmore, including around the Mackay area, Bowen down towards Ogmore, including around the Mackay and the Proserpine area as well throughout the Whitsundays, especially through Wednesday and into Thursday, before this rainfall begins to temporarily ease off on Friday, and a few heavy showers and residual thunderstorms expected through Friday and Saturday and in towards Sunday. And then it looks like as we get into the last day of March and in the first couple of days of April, the rainfall finally begins to pipe down for North Queensland. A few more showers and thunderstorms expected across far North Queensland though, and you can see they're pretty persistent much later on into the forecast period. And in fact, we could be seeing a bit of a resurgence into the second week of April for some pretty heavy rainfall around the Cassowary coast as well, around Cardwell and Townsville. So we will need to keep a very close eye on the rainfall forecast up there. But in short, heavy showers expected throughout the remainder of today, and then these bands of rainfall just materialising here and there pretty consistently over the next couple of days as well, and slowly heading down towards the south as this low pressure system drags itself down towards the south as well. So whilst today the heaviest falls are expected around the Townsville area, tomorrow they're going to be heading down towards Bowen and the Whitsundays, and then through Wednesday and into Thursday we're expecting the heaviest rainfall to be around the Mackay area before it finally eases off further south around the Rockhampton area through Thursday as well. And in terms of rainfall accumulations over the next week, some pretty healthy numbers can be expected as well. You can see on the forecast at least anywhere between 200 and 300 millimetres can be expected as a maximum, and widespread falls between Cardwell down to, or as far south as Rockhampton, anywhere between that 100 to about 200 millimetres can be expected. Townsville with a further 200 millimetres on the forecast. I do have a bad feeling that that number is going to end up being significantly higher, probably up around that 350 or 400 millimetre mark, but again, they've only got about 24 hours of the chance of heavy rainfall left. I do reckon there will be a spot accumulation around Proserpine or Mackay that picks up 900, or not 900, sorry, thinking of rainfall observations recently, anywhere between 500 and 700 millimetres over the next week or so. However, for the most part, widespread rainfall accumulations over the next week, anywhere between about 200 and 300 millimetres around the Mackay area. Rainfall will ease off as you get further south of Clairview and Ogmore, by the looks of things, at least on this forecast. Any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comments section down below. Heading things over to the Northern Territory, you can see plenty of showers and thunderstorms expected over there over the next 7 days, with that glimpse of the rainfall accumulation on the forecast, up to 200 millimetres expected. But have a look at this. The Northern Territory is growing a mohawk right now. Look at these thunderstorms developing off the Northern Territory and the Kimberley coastline into Western Australia. They've all been sheared off. You can see plenty of wind shear. Well, that wind shear just blowing the thunderstorm tops over towards the northwest, and it really does look like the Northern Territory has a brand new hairstyle. In fact, Australia as its own has its brand new hairstyle as well. This low pressure system really impressive on the satellite imagery as well. Plenty of showers and thunderstorms associated with it in the Northern Territory, just outside of radar coverage. Tennant Creek needs a radar station. I mean, it would really help in these extremely niche situations that we're seeing right now. But yeah, Tennant Creek, if it had a radar station, would be able to tell exactly what rainfall's going through there. But again, like I've said, with this rainfall heading steadily down towards the southeast over the next couple of days, the rainfall will be at its heaviest through this morning and then easing off through this afternoon into this evening, and rainfall accumulations will seldom be above 100 millimetres as we head forward from today onwards. But again, already some pretty solid rainfall accumulations into the eastern half of the Northern Territory, especially for locations towards the east of Tennant Creek. Whilst they haven't been as heavy as we were once expecting, they have got pretty close into some locations, and I imagine there is some pretty significant issues with flooding now beginning to develop around Canton Creek, Corella Creek, and then across towards the NT Queensland border as well. But that'll be enough on the Northern Territory. You can see a bit of tropical rainfall still expected around the Darwin area, and especially over the next 14 days, rainfall accumulations are looking pretty healthy in this location here, which is very good news indeed because they've really struggled for rainfall so far this wet season. So hopefully they do get another 300 millimetres over the next 3 weeks across this part of the Northern Territory. It will really help them out, that's for sure. But it's now time to talk tropical cyclones over in Western Australia, where we do have that tropical low 27U beginning to develop now quite nicely offshore from the Pilbara coastline. It's developing a lot quicker and a lot faster and a lot better than I initially expected as well, and I'm expecting this to get upgraded to tropical cyclone status pretty soon. Whether that's today or tomorrow, still a little bit uncertain about that, but I do reckon that this is going to get to tropical cyclone status and pick up the name of Courtney sometime by tomorrow evening, well offshore from the Pilbara coastline. Again, this is no threat to land by the looks of things. It will have a bit of an interaction with the remnants of tropical low 25U, in fact gobbling them up by the looks of things through Wednesday and Thursday through a phenomenon called the Fujiwara effect. But again, I want to put everybody's mind at ease. It's not going to result in a massive dire situation for Western Australia. The Fujiwara effect happens all the time over in the West Australian waters. It happens at least once a year, and it is not a natural disaster. It's just a phenomenon where low pressure systems interact with each other, and one swallows the other one up, or they merge into one, and it's often bad news for the tropical cyclones. In fact, the interaction of the low pressure systems often rips these systems apart, and it's one of the reasons why this system, despite very favourable conditions right now, doesn't begin properly intensifying until about Thursday or Friday, when it is well offshore from the West Australian coastline. It does look like it's going to have a pretty good life. It's got some warm sea temperatures ahead of it. Wind shear shouldn't be too high until early next week and into as it gets in towards April, and it gets well out to sea, well offshore from Western Australia and outside of the Bureau of Meteorology's responsibility. It might have an interaction with the cold front through Friday as well, which will probably slow its movement south of the Cocos Keeling Islands. Again, it's still a little bit uncertain, but this system here going to remain well offshore from West Australia's coastline, and I do expect it to get up to around Category 2, possibly even Category 3 strength severe tropical cyclone status. Like I said, it's had a pretty good start to life and it's looking pretty robust right now, but that doesn't often mean, or past performance is not often an indicator of future performance here with this tropical cyclone. We'll have to wait and see, but an interesting nugget of cloud offshore from the West Australian coastline, and like I said, no threat to WA at all, but certainly an interesting thing and something worth having a look at, that's for sure. Anyways, in terms of other interesting stuff around Australia, it's going to get pretty warm across the southwest of Western Australia over the next couple of days. Temperatures expected to be in the high 30s and early 40s for some locations throughout today, tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and even in towards Saturday as well. Those temperatures finally cooling off as we get out towards Sunday, when we are expecting a bit of an interaction with the low pressure system or a cold front through Sunday and in towards Monday. It looks like those temperatures will actually remain pretty warm for the most part into the southwest of Western Australia until at least mid-April, when those temperatures do begin to drop off and we start to see a bit more interaction with those cold fronts. But again, in terms of stuff happening around the southern half of Australia, there's nothing on the forecast for the next week either until we get out towards April. So on that note, I'm going to leave this video here. A special shout out, of course, to the channel sponsors. Their names are on screen right now, and again, I am very thankful for their support and appreciation of the last couple of months. It has really helped out their contributions, and if you do want to get your name mentioned at this part of the video, click the join button down below. It's only $5 a month, and the support is much appreciated. Subscribe if you haven't already, but that is all from me today, and I'll catch you all in the next storm. Goodbye.